Time for What's Hot, where we talk about the stories that have everybody talking.
And we're joined by Tracy Johnson from Tempo Milwaukee, plus Jeff Wagner is back. And the first topic, a walking tour of horrors. The first ever tour of Jeffrey Dahmer's stalking grounds happened this weekend. Protesters outnumbered those on the tour in Walker's Point, including the sister of one of Dahmer's victims. Now, they call this tour insensitive and say it puts Milwaukee to shame. What do you guys think?
Well, I think the life-affirming aspect of this story is that despite all the publicity, only 6 people showed up. There were more reporters and more protesters. Only 6 people showed up. Now, as far as those 6 people who each paid $30 a piece to go on the tour, I don't know what you can say. But hopefully the free market will take over and this thing will die, and we won't see too much going on from now on in.
I don't know. I think people are going to start to catch on to this. It's one of those things. We can't avoid it. We can't get away from the fact that this happened, and yes, it's horrific. And I think that they're marketing to college students who also find this weird, morbid curiosity with it. I think all the publicity after the fact is actually going to make it catch on. And a good thing is they're donating some of the proceeds to charity. So well, who doesn't love that?
We're also kind of a morbid people. There are LA death scene tours. The Jack the Ripper tour in London's been going on forever. I mean, people will show up and pay money to be grossed out.
Well, okay, but first of all, the apartment building where Dahmer lived has been torn down. The place where he worked is no longer there. So, I mean, what you're doing is essentially walking through a couple alleys. I'm sorry, I go back to what I said last week. God's way of telling you you have too much money is if you can drop $30 on this particular tour.
Well, but I think people are not just going to do this tour to look at the locations. They're going to do it to have a conversation and talk about what motivated this crazy serial killer who's going to go down in history.
Tracy, crazy serial killer. That's all you need to say. What motivated the crazy serial killer? He was a crazy serial killer.
But don't tell me you don't go down Wisconsin Avenue or in the 3rd Ward and you say, oh, Jeffrey Dahmer took his victims there. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I think it's going to catch on.
I'll tell you what, when I showed up as a student in Marquette there in the mid-90s, it was the one thing, you know, everybody wanted to go drive by the place where the apartment building was.
I can honestly say I have lived here most of my life. It has never occurred to me, gee, I want to drive by the alley to see where Jeffrey Dahmer was stalking people.
And pay $30 for it.
Well, that's...
Well, we'll see how the tour lasts. All right, guys, thanks.